Do you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be?
It feels like fate, doesn't it? The connection is electric, and the future they're painting for you looks perfect. But what if that destiny is just a really well-written script? They seem like your soulmate, but their actions are straight out of a manipulator's playbook. Before you fall any deeper, you need to recognize the cold, Machiavellian red flags that prove you're a pawn in their game, not a partner. Think about the problem and the promise. There's a special kind of head-spinning confusion that comes from being in a relationship that feels like a fairy tale, but acts like a psychological thriller. 1 minute, you're sure you've found your one true connection, the person who finally gets you. The next, you're left feeling anxious, exhausted, and full of a deep-seated self-doubt, constantly questioning your own reality. This emotional whiplash isn't a sign of some passionate, complicated love. It's the calling card of a Machiavellian operator. See, these people are masters of manipulation. They're defined by their cynicism, their willingness to exploit others, and their preference for emotionally detached relationships. They don't see you as a partner. They see you as a project, a possession, or a piece to be moved around a chessboard they designed. To them, relationships are transactions, and their main goal is usually to gain power, control, or resources. And the most dangerous part? Their tactics are often invisible. They wrap them in the language of love, care, and protection. It's all so subtle, so insidious, that you start to believe you're the problem. You feel like you constantly have to defend yourself. You apologize for things you didn't even do, and you live with this nagging feeling of unhappiness that you can't quite put your finger on. That's what this video is for. We're going to name it. We're pulling back the curtain on this sophisticated and destructive type of manipulation. We're going to break down, in detail, the 7 foundational signs of a Machiavellian partner. This isn't just about spotting red flags. It's about understanding the playbook. It's about recognizing that the confusion and pain you're feeling are not your fault. They are the predictable results of a very carefully executed game. By the end of this, you'll have the clarity and the words to see their moves for what they are, and you'll have the knowledge to reclaim your reality and protect your peace. Let's get into it. Sign number 1. The calculated charm and the love-bombing agenda. The first sign is arguably the most potent because it looks exactly like what so many of us dream of. The perfect, all-consuming romance. This is the tactic of calculated charm, and its aggressive delivery system is love bombing. It's more than just being swept off your feet. It's being intentionally overwhelmed until your defenses are down and your judgment is completely clouded. A person high in Machiavellian traits is often incredibly charismatic and socially skilled, especially when you first meet them. They are masters at creating the illusion of a once-in-a-lifetime connection. They don't just show interest, they study you. They mirror your values, your dreams, your insecurities, making you feel seen and understood like never before. They'll pretend to be fascinated by your hobbies, your job, and your past, not because they actually care, but because they're gathering data. They're learning your weak spots, your unmet needs, and the exact shape of the hole in your life that they plan to fill. Then comes the love bomb. This is an over-the-top, overwhelming flood of affection and attention designed to fast-track intimacy and create emotional dependency. It's a fire hose of validation. In the first few weeks, they might tell you they've never felt this way, that you're their soulmate, that their whole life has been leading up to you. They'll shower you with gifts that feel way too extravagant for how long you've known them. The communication is constant, a flood of texts from morning to night, calls that last for hours, and an insistence on spending every free moment together. It feels intoxicating, like you're the star of a romantic movie. But underneath it all, a cold calculation is running. A healthy, real connection builds over time. It's a slow burn of mutual discovery and respect. Love bombing is a wildfire. It's rushed, intense, and has an almost desperate, performative feel to it. One of the biggest clues is how they react to boundaries. In a healthy relationship, if you say you need a night to yourself or want to slow things down a bit, your partner respects that. But a love bomber, a Machiavellian, they'll often punish you for it, subtly. They might get sulky, make you feel guilty, or question your commitment, framing your need for space as a rejection of them. Their love is conditional. Imagine you meet someone, and the connection feels instant. Within a week, they're calling you their everything. They surprise you at work with an expensive gift. They're already talking about a vacation you should take together in 6 months, even looking up flights. They tell you that your friends don't really appreciate you the way they do, subtly suggesting that what you two have is far superior to your existing support system. You feel a little dizzy, a bit overwhelmed, but you chalk it up to a once-in-a-lifetime romance. But then, you have a busy week at work and can't see them as much. The flood of adoring texts slows to a trickle. When you finally talk, their tone is cool. They might say something passive-aggressive like, "I guess I just value our connection more than you do." Suddenly, you find yourself scrambling to reassure them, to get back in their good graces, to get that intoxicating flood of affection flowing again. And just like that, you've been trained. You've learned that their affection is a reward, and its withdrawal is a punishment. This is the core of their agenda. The love bombing isn't about giving. It's about creating a debt. It's about making you so dependent on their validation that they can use it for control. They aren't building a relationship with you. They're setting up a system of intermittent reinforcement. The intense highs of the love bombing phase make the inevitable lows, the withdrawal, the criticism, the coldness, that much more painful and confusing, keeping you forever off balance and desperate for their approval. This isn't love. It's the construction of a cage with bars that just happen to be gilded with charm. Sign number 2, the architectural illusion of future faking. Once the Machiavellian has you hooked with the intense, in-the-moment validation of love bombing, they move to secure their investment by selling you a future. This brings us to the second sign, the architectural illusion of future faking. Future faking is a deeply insidious tactic where a person makes grand, detailed promises about a shared future with zero intention of ever making them happen. It's the art of getting you to fall in love not with them, but with the life they promise you. This tactic works so well because it taps right into our very human need for stability, commitment, and a future we can count on. It encourages you to ignore red flags in the present in exchange for a beautiful, but imaginary, tomorrow. A Machiavellian uses future faking as a primary tool for control. They know that if they can get you emotionally invested in a future that includes them, you're much less likely to leave them in the present. And these aren't vague hopes like, maybe we'll get married someday. Future faking is specific, vivid, and highly detailed. They'll talk about the kind of house you'll buy, the city you'll move to, the names of your future kids, the dog you'll get. They might discuss the tiny details of a wedding, or how they'll introduce you to their family at Christmas, or a landmark trip they want to take with you for your first anniversary. They talk about these things with so much certainty and excitement that it feels like a done deal. You're no longer just dating, you're co-architects of a dream. But here's the catch, it's a mirage. The point of these promises isn't to build a life with you. It's to manage your behavior right now. For the Machiavellian, these future plans are a cheap way to keep you in line. Did you catch them in a lie? They'll suddenly bring up that fantasy trip to Italy. Are you questioning the relationship? They'll start talking about engagement rings. The future becomes a bargaining chip, a tool to calm you down, distract you, and make sure you stay put. Consider this. You've been dating someone for a few months. The beginning was a whirlwind, but now things feel a little off. They might disappear for a day or two, then come back like nothing happened. When you try to bring it up, to tell them you're hurt and confused, they pivot. "I'm so sorry I've been distant," they'll say. "I've just been so stressed thinking about us. Sorry, I was actually looking at houses online for us near that school you said you liked for the kids." And just like that, your frustration melts away, replaced by a wave of reassurance. The conversation is no longer about their sketchy behavior. It's about your beautiful, shared future. You've been expertly redirected. They used a hypothetical tomorrow to erase a very real problem today. The dead giveaway of future faking is a constant gap between their words and their actions. When it's time for these grand plans to happen, there's always an excuse. The conversation about moving in gets pushed because work is just insane right now. The trip you were supposed to book gets postponed because something came up. If you confront them about this pattern, they don't take responsibility. Instead, they might get defensive, and accuse you of being impatient, or even gaslight you by saying, "I never promised that for sure. You're putting too much pressure on me." They make you feel like your expectation for them to simply do what they said they'd do is the problem. This cycle does profound psychological damage. It puts you in a state of perpetual waiting. You invest months, even years of your life on layaway, believing the real relationship is just around the corner. It teaches you to ignore your own needs in the present for the sake of a fantasy. The constant hope followed by disappointment erodes your ability to trust your own judgment. You start thinking, maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I should just be more patient. That is exactly what the manipulator wants. A patient, hopeful, and endlessly forgiving subject is the perfect pawn. Recognizing future faking for what it is, a manipulative illusion, is a critical step in seeing that the person you're with is not your destiny, but a dealer of emotionally bankrupt fantasies. Sign number 3. The slow poison of devaluation and helpful criticism. After the love bombing and future faking have secured your emotional investment, the Machiavellian often shifts into the third, more corrosive phase. The slow poisoning of your self-worth through devaluation and so-called helpful criticism. This sign is one of the hardest to spot in the moment because it's delivered in tiny, almost unnoticeable doses, disguised as care, concern, or even a joke. Machiavellians operate from a place of deep cynicism and a need for control. In their world, relationships are power dynamics. For them to feel up, you have to be, in some way, dogged down. A confident, independent partner with a strong sense of self is a threat. So, they must systematically, and often subtly, chip away at your confidence. This makes you more dependent on them for validation, easier to control, and less likely to leave. It's a psychological long game designed to tear down your personal power from the inside out. This erosion rarely starts with direct insults. It begins with backhanded compliments and what's known as negging. Mild insults dressed up as compliments, designed to throw you off balance and make you seek their approval. They might say things like, "You look so great when you actually make an effort," which implies you normally look bad. Or, "It's so cute that you're passionate about your little hobby." That word, little, is there to subtly diminish something you love, Another classic is, you're a lot smarter than you look, which leaves you wondering if you were just complimented or insulted. That confusion is the whole point. It creates a tiny crack in your self-esteem. From there, it often escalates to helpful criticism. This is where the manipulation becomes truly masterful. The Machiavellian will frame their put-downs as being for your own good. They become your self-appointed life coach, constantly pointing out your flaws under the guise of helping you improve. They might critique how you dress, saying, "I'm just trying to help you look your best." They might question your career choices. "Are you sure you can handle that? I'm just worried you'll be disappointed." They'll analyze your interactions with others. "You came on a little strong back there, and I'm just telling you so people don't get the wrong idea about you." Each piece of advice plants a seed of doubt. You start second-guessing your own judgment, your competence, your social skills, even how likable you are. You might even feel a twisted sense of gratitude, thinking, "Wow, they care so much. They're willing to tell me hard truths no one else will." You don't see that a truly supportive partner builds you up. They don't act as your personal quality control inspector. Let's paint a picture. You're excited because you got a promotion. You tell your Machiavellian partner, and their first response isn't "Congratulations." But that's great. Are you sure you can handle the extra responsibility? The hours will be longer. I hope you're ready for the stress. Their words are wrapped in concern, but the underlying message is crystal clear. You're not capable. The joy and pride you felt moments before are gone, replaced by anxiety and self-doubt. Over time, you stop sharing your wins with them because you learn to expect this kind of deflating response. This constant low-grade negativity becomes the background noise of your life. They'll devalue your opinions with the dismissive, "Oh, that's a simple way of looking at it." They'll rewrite your own accomplishments saying, "You were lucky to get that, you know." Eventually, you start to internalize their voice. You start criticizing yourself before they even can. You become smaller, quieter, more hesitant. You lose touch with the confident person you were before the relationship. This is the ultimate goal. They need you to believe that you're flawed, that you're lucky to have them, and that you couldn't possibly make it without them. It's a strategy of manufactured dependency. Recognizing this slow poison is realizing their help is not help at all. It's sabotage. It's the systematic dismantling of your self-worth to ensure you're never strong enough to walk away. If any of this is starting to sound painfully familiar, if that feeling of confusion and self-doubt is something you know all too well, let us know in the comments. You are not alone in this experience, and if you want to keep learning how to spot these manipulative tactics and protect your own mental peace, take a second to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. The knowledge you gain here is a form of psychological self-defense, and the first step is always awareness. Or sign number 4, the control engine of covert aggression and guilt. Now that your self-esteem is shaky, the Machiavellian manipulator can use their main control engine more effectively. This brings us to the 4th sign, the constant use of covert aggression, blame shifting, and weaponized guilt. Machiavellians tend to avoid direct, honest conflict, where they might actually be held accountable. Instead, they are masters of indirect psychological warfare. They excel at getting what they want without ever having to ask for it directly. And they are experts at making you feel responsible for their own bad moods and behaviors. This is a world of passive aggression, veiled threats, and masterful guilt trips. Passive-aggressive behavior is a cornerstone of their toolkit. It's aggression expressed indirectly. For example, instead of saying, I'm upset that you're going out with your friends tonight," they'll sigh and say, "Oh, you're going out? That's fine. I'll just stay here alone. I hope you have fun." The words say it's okay, but the tone, the sigh, the slump of their shoulders, it all screams displeasure. This puts you in a terrible position. Now you're responsible for their loneliness. You either cancel your plans and resent them, or you go out and feel so guilty you can't even enjoy yourself. Either way, they've successfully controlled your emotional state without making a single direct request. The silent treatment is another classic. It's a powerful way to punish you, forcing you into a state of anxiety, desperately trying to fix a problem they won't even name. Then there is the masterful art of blame shifting. In the world of a Machiavellian, nothing is ever their fault. They have an ironclad defense against accountability. If they mess up, they will skillfully spin the story so that someone else, usually you, is to blame. For example, if they fly off the handle and yell at you, they'll later say, "Well, I wouldn't have gotten so angry if you hadn't been pushing my buttons." The focus is immediately shifted from their unacceptable behavior, yelling, to your supposed provocation. You go from being the victim of their outburst to being the cause of it. You end up apologizing for their reaction. This tactic is especially damaging because they genuinely lack empathy. They don't see their role in the problem. Their cynical worldview allows them to rationalize their actions with ease. They might say things like, "I had to do it for our future," or "I only did it because I love you," framing controlling or hurtful actions as acts of protection. Let's walk through it. Your partner overspends on a credit card, causing financial stress. When you try to have a calm conversation about it, the blame-shifting engine kicks into high gear. They might say, "I only bought that because you've been so stressed lately, and I wanted to do something nice for us." Or they might go on the attack. "Well, if you appreciated the things I do for you more, maybe I wouldn't feel the need to find happiness in other ways." Before you know it, the conversation isn't about their irresponsible spending anymore. It's about your lack of appreciation or your failure to make them happy. You're left feeling dizzy, guilty, and completely steamrolled. They've successfully dodged all responsibility. This constant cycle is emotionally and psychologically exhausting. It creates an environment where you feel like you're always walking on eggshells. You become afraid to voice your needs because you learn from experience that your words will just be twisted and used against you. You start to believe that you're difficult, demanding, and always in the wrong. And that's the whole point. A partner who feels consistently at fault is easy to control. They will work tirelessly to please the manipulator, desperate to restore the peace that the manipulator themselves keeps breaking. Recognizing this engine of control is understanding that the guilt you feel isn't a byproduct of the relationship, it's the intended function. Sign number 5, strategic isolation. Cutting you off from your reality. Check: a manipulator's greatest fear is an informed audience. A Machiavellian partner knows their version of reality is fragile and can be shattered by an outside opinion. That brings us to sign number 5, strategic isolation. Over time, they must cut you off from the people who hold up a mirror to the truth: your friends, your family, and anyone else who could serve as a reality check. This isolation is rarely a direct order. It's not usually a blunt, "I forbid you from seeing your friends." Like their other tactics, it's a slow, subtle campaign waged against your social circle. The goal is to make you believe that the manipulator is the only person you can truly trust, the only one who really has your back. The campaign often starts by planting seeds of distrust. After you spend time with a close friend or family member, your partner will find something to criticize. They might say, "Did you notice the way your friend looked at you? I don't think she respects you." Or after a family dinner, "Your brother was so dismissive of your opinion. It makes me angry how people treat you. These comments are designed to make you second-guess relationships that have always been a source of comfort. They're positioning themselves as your sole defender, the only one who sees the truth of how badly everyone else treats you. Another common tactic is to create drama around your social plans. If you have a night out planned with friends, they might suddenly pick a fight right before you leave, making you too upset to go. Or they might fake a sudden illness or crisis that requires you to stay home with them. They monopolize your time and energy, but frame it as a deep need for your love. Over time, it just becomes easier to not make plans. The effort of navigating their moods and managing their manufactured crises is just too exhausting. You begin to isolate yourself, not because they told you to, but because it's the path of least resistance. Think about this classic example. You have a best friend who's known you for years. Your new partner is charming to your friend's face, but later the commentary starts. She seems a bit jealous of us, don't you think? Or, I just don't think she has your best interests at heart. She still sees you as the old you. At the same time, they're telling you, what we have is so special, no one on the outside could ever get it. This creates an us against the world narrative. You're healthy. The long-term friendships are framed as a threat to the special bond you have with your partner. You're subtly forced to choose, and because the relationship with the manipulator is so intense, you might start pulling away from your friends, thinking you're protecting your new love. The psychological impact of this is profound. Your support system isn't just for fun, it's your anchor to reality. Your friends and family knew you before this relationship. They can see the changes in you, that you seem more anxious, less confident, that you've stopped doing things you love. When the manipulator cuts you off from these people, they cut you off from your own past. Suddenly, they're the only one who defines your reality. With no one else to turn to, you become completely dependent on the manipulator. Their voice is the only one you hear, and their version of events is the only one that feels real. This makes you far more vulnerable to their other tactics, like gaslighting and blame shifting. There's no one there to say, no, that's not what happened, or the way they're treating you is not okay. You're adrift at sea, and they are your only anchor, an anchor strategically placed to keep you exactly where they want you. Sign number 6, the transactional heart. They don't love you, they appraise you. At the very core of the Machiavellian mindset is a cold, hard truth that's often the most painful one to accept. This is sign number 6. Their heart is transactional. They don't experience love as a connection. They experience it as an exchange. They don't love you for who you are. They appraise you for what you can provide. Psychological research is pretty clear on this. Individuals with these traits view partners in terms of their usefulness. They care less about warmth, trust, and loyalty, and far more about what a partner can do for them. They're often looking for someone with status, resources, beauty, or other assets that can move them forward in life. To put it bluntly, you're not a partner, you're an acquisition. This transactional view explains why their initial interest feels so intense and focused. They aren't falling in love, they're identifying an asset. Do you have a great career? A strong social network? Money? Or maybe you're just incredibly empathetic and nurturing, making you a perfect source of emotional supply and a willing caretaker. They figure out what they want, and then they use tactics like love bombing to get it. So that's why their charm can feel so perfectly tailored to you. They're just mirroring the values of someone who has something they want. This approach shows up in a few key ways as the relationship goes on. One indicator is conditional generosity. They might shower you with gifts or favors, but there's always an expectation of something in return. Their kindness isn't genuine. It's a tool to indebt you to them. For example, they might pay for a lavish vacation, but then hold it over your head for months. "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me," becomes a familiar line. That gift wasn't a gift. It was a down payment on your future obedience. Another sign is their blatant use of you for personal gain. This can be as direct as expecting you to pay for their lifestyle or using your social connections to get ahead in their own career. Studies have even identified behaviors like the foodie call, where some people with these traits agree to dates just for a free meal, with no interest in the person at all. On the flip side, others were found to be more likely to coerce partners into sex for their own gratification, not for intimacy or connection. These are crude examples, but they point to the same underlying principle. The partner is a means to an end. Imagine you're a successful entrepreneur. You meet someone who seems completely captivated by your ambition. They praise your business savvy and position themselves as your #1 cheerleader, talking about becoming a power couple. But once the relationship is established and the things shift, they start borrowing money for their own projects, using your business contacts without asking, and expecting you to fund a lifestyle that makes you uncomfortable. When you try to set boundaries, they accuse you of being unsupportive and selfish. And then comes that sickening feeling in the pit of your stomach, the realization that they weren't in love with you. They were in love with your balance sheet and your network. They didn't see a partner. They saw an angel investor. Living in a transactional relationship is deeply dehumanizing. You aren't seen, you are assessed. Your worth isn't inherent, it's tied to your usefulness. This is why these relationships often feel so empty, despite the initial fireworks. There's a profound lack of real empathy and connection. They can't connect with your feelings because, to them, your feelings are irrelevant unless they can be used as a lever to manipulate you. Recognizing this transactional nature is to finally understand the cold, calculating machine behind the mask of love. You're not their partner in life. You're just a line item on their personal ledger. Sign number 7, the grand finale of deception, the smear campaign and discard. The final and often most brutal sign of a Machiavellian reveals itself when their control starts to slip, or when they've gotten everything they can out of you. This is the 2-part finale of their game, the preemptive smear campaign and the cold, calculated discard. For a Machiavellian, image is everything. They've worked hard to build a public persona of being charming, successful, and a great partner. The biggest threat to that image is an ex who knows the truth. So, when they sense the relationship is ending, either because you're pulling away or because they're getting ready to move on, they have to control the story. This is where the smear campaign begins. Long before the actual breakup, they start subtly trashing your reputation to mutual friends, colleagues, and sometimes even your own family. It's a preemptive strike. They'll paint you as unstable, overly emotional, demanding, or even crazy. And they'll do it under the guise of concern. They'll say things like, "I'm so worried about her. She's been so paranoid lately." Or, "He has these wild mood swings. I'm just trying my best to handle it." They will share private, sensitive information you told them in confidence, twisting it to make you look as bad as possible. The goal here is twofold. First, it isolates you even more. When you finally break up and reach out for support, you might find that people are distant or don't believe you. The manipulator has already poisoned the well. They've framed you as the problem, so your side of the story sounds unreliable. Second, it protects their own image. They cast themselves as the long-suffering victim. They aren't the manipulator ending a relationship. They're the noble soul who finally had to walk away to save themselves. Once the stage is set, the discard itself is often shockingly abrupt and cold. because Machiavellians lack real emotional attachment. They don't experience a breakup the way most people do. For them, it's just the end of a transaction. The switch can be so fast it gives you whiplash. One day they might be telling you they love you, and the next they're gone, treating you like a total stranger. There's no closure, no heartfelt talk, no shared sadness. There is only the chilling finality of a business deal that is concluded. Consider this final, devastating scenario. You've started to see the manipulation. You're setting boundaries, pulling back. Your Machiavellian partner senses this loss of control. Without you knowing, they begin calling your friends, expressing their heartbreak and concern over your recent erratic behavior. They build a story where they are the stable, loving partner, and you are spiraling out of control. Then, one day, you get a text. It's a cold, formal announcement that it's over. When you try to call, you're blocked. You reach out to mutual friends for comfort, only to be met with pity. One of them says, "He told us you've been going through a really tough time. We're here for you." And in that one horrifying moment, you realize you've been checkmated. They haven't just left you, they've destroyed your credibility on their way out the door. This final act is the ultimate expression of their character. It shows their willingness to ruin someone's reputation to save their own, their profound lack of empathy, and their view of people as disposable. It's a scorched earth policy designed to ensure they walk away, not just clean, but as the hero of the story they wrote. It is the final, brutal proof that you were never a partner. You were a character in their play, and your role has simply come to an end. So, we've walked through the whole dark, twisting playbook. We've looked at the calculated charm and love bombing meant to hook you, the future faking that keeps you holding on, and the slow poison of devaluation that wears you down. We've exposed the control engine of guilt, the devastating strategy of isolation, the cold reality of their transactional heart, and the final, brutal smear campaign and discard. If this felt like watching a highlight reel of your relationship, there's one thing you need to understand above all else. The confusion, the pain, and the self-doubt you've felt are not a reflection of you. They are the predictable, intended outcomes of a sophisticated psychological game. You were likely targeted precisely because of your strengths, your empathy, your ability to love, your willingness to see the good in people. These are not flaws. They are qualities that were turned into weapons against you. Recognizing these signs isn't about blaming or staying a victim. It's about empowerment. It's about finally putting a name to the chaos you've been living in. It's the aha moment where all the pieces click into place and you realize, I'm not crazy, I'm being manipulated. That knowledge is the first and most powerful step toward reclaiming your reality. You are not a pawn in someone else's game. That little voice inside you that kept saying something was wrong, it was right all along. Now, you have the knowledge to back it up. Healing from this kind of manipulation is a process of rebuilding trust in yourself. It starts with setting firm boundaries and, often, making the tough decision to walk away completely. The most powerful thing you can do now is to continue this conversation. Share your own experiences and aha moments in the comments below. Reading each other's stories breaks the power of isolation and builds a community of awareness. Thank you for taking the time to arm yourself with this knowledge. You are not defined by their game. You are defined by your courage to see it, to name it, and to walk away.